You think your team is off to a bad start this season because, well, I think you probably know where this is going. We have discovered a team in Europe that is off to a worse start. All you have to do is go to the third division of Romania. And there you will find there's multiple groups here. There you will find, let's see if you can find it. Which group am I interested in? How about Group 5? With FCU Craiova 1948 on minus 94 points at the bottom of the table. And this is real. This is not some sort of typo. They are legitimately on negative 94 points. But the story of this team and how they've ended up in this spot is a rabbit hole and a half that I have just started to try and pull myself out of so that I can actually end up making this video. Because I just went down it, initially. You know how it works. I get sent something like this. I come across it in my daily internet travels, maybe my daily travels in real life. Maybe I ran into a guy who plays for FCU Craiova 1948. You don't know that. Anyways, I come across this and I go, okay, what happened? And I start searching around and poking around for different articles, videos, whatever I can find that might tell me what happened, just out of genuine curiosity. I'm searching Twitter, searching Instagram, whatever. And I come to discover that this team 2 years ago was in the top flight of Romania. That one. That is not what you expect when you are looking at the Romanian third division that has 7 groups of 12 teams, right? This is like the splitting off point in Romanian football. You go, the second division is just one league. The first division is obviously just one league, but the third division, you have 7 groups of 12 teams. Okay. 12 teams each, 7 different times. I hate math, but if you do 12 times 7, you got, 70, 84? Is that right? You get 84 teams in the Romanian third division. And this one that's on negative 94 points. This one is the one that was in the top flight 2 years ago. They weren't even relegated in a sporting sense from the second division last year. They were administratively relegated from the second division. Now, fortunately, I found a couple of articles. One from I.uz. I don't know if that's Uzbekistan. I don't even know what's going on there. And then there is like a write-up from TalkSport about this team as well. And, of course, they have a very interesting Wikipedia that makes some incredibly wonderful light reading. And this is where it sums up a good bit of what happened. Immediately after relegation, the club began parting ways with important players, including Aurelian Chitu, Gabriel Campagnucci, Leo Lacroix, Mateus Mascarenhas, Van Dumen, Achim, and Bahasa. The goalkeeping coach, assistant coach left, clarified the team would remain in Craiova and play at the Ion Oblemenko Stadium. Remember that stadium. We're going to come back to that. During the 2024-2025 season, the club accumulated several disciplinary files due to debts to former players and other clubs, including Dinamo. That debt, by the way, to Dinamo is for the cup. There's like some small fee associated with the cup that it has not been paid to Dinamo Bucharest. Like whatever small amount of money needed to change hands to Dinamo Bucharest after a match in the Romanian Cup hasn't done so. They finished the regular season in 9th place, 3rd in the relegation playout group. So they did not get relegated competitively, but they were later deducted an additional 18 points, reaching a total of minus 32 points before the start of the season. This brought up the possibility of exclusion from the league if the debts were not paid. And then by June 18th, the FRF, which is the Romanian Football Federation, basically, released the list of licensed clubs for Liga 2, which is the second division of Romania, and FCU Craiova 1948 did not obtain a license. The owner, this guy, we're going to meet him again, Mititelu, refused to apply for it, arguing that the federation was acting illegally. As a result, the club was demoted to League 3. And this Mititelu guy is fighting all of this in court. The problem is that the matches in the seasons themselves are unfolding behind the scenes, right? But Mititelu is trying to fight this stuff in court. He warned that if the FRF does not allow the team to participate in Liga 2, he would proceed with the club's dissolution for the second time after the one in 2016. So now he's trying to threaten the league with the fact that he's going to dissolve the club, which is, of course, is incredibly unfortunate for all of the fans of the club. Or is it? Because this club exists in 2 iterations. This is part of the rabbit hole. Right? There is another version of this club that is currently first place in the top flight. This is CS Universitate Craiova. While we are looking at FC Universitate Craiova 1948. They are both, allegedly, the heir apparents to a club that existed in Romania until 1991 and won multiple championships, multiple Romanian cups. This is from the 7th biggest city in Romania. Of course, Romania was part of the Iron Curtain, and so the transition to free market economy basically devastated a lot of clubs. And what ended up happening is the original club kind of dissolved, and 2 successor clubs that both claim the heritage of that original club came into existence. And obviously, 2 years ago, they were like both in the top flight, CS and FC. And they both, claim the heritage of having won all those cups and stuff. The issue for FC is that in 2013, they declined legal problems, debts, and the club dissolved. And then the club phoenixed a second time, still claiming to be the original heir of the legacy in 2017 and rose all the way back up to the top flight, right? It reconstituted in the lower leagues and then finally was able to get all the way to the top flight. It was created by Adrian Mititelu, right? He created the team, right? This is not somebody that bought it and is going to destroy it. He created this team in the first place and got it all the way to the top flight. As for what's happening financially, I have absolutely no idea. But this article does outline the reasons for the decision. They are not complying with financial discipline, right? And the number one thing, if you watch this channel, if you know anything about getting your license to operate as a professional club, you have to meet financial requirements. We're not talking about FFP. We're talking about, pay your players, have this much cash in reserve or whatever in order to, incidental expenses. There's all these sorts of legalese, papers, and laws that govern what a successful, healthy footballing system looks like. And Romania's, for the most part, has been a successful, healthy footballing system. It's produced teams like FCSB that have managed to make some serious runs. But this team, and the way that you see happen all over the world, once it got relegated, just could not sustain financially what it was doing. And there's now, the deadline is September 25th. So by the time you see this video, they have a couple of days. It's very possible that FC Universitate Craiova 1948 is never going to play another match. And if they don't comply by September 25th, that Romanian football is going to eject them from all competitions. And Mititelu, who is trying to go through all this legal action, and he's making noise. I mean, he's quoted in this article that TalkSport has about trying to go to the European Court of Sport. We will not be excluded. The situation will be resolved. The so-called rulings and decisions of the FRF, including these demerits, have no value because they have no legal mandate. But the FRF told Galatsu Mititelu challenges everything in court, but that doesn't mean that sanctions cannot be applied according to the regulations. Basically saying he's welcome to challenge this stuff, but we're saying he's broken the rules. The so-called rulings, including these demerits, have no value. And moreover, after the decision of the Court of Justice of the European Union, they are no longer final. I don't necessarily know what he's talking about. It's over. They must be subject to the courts. So maybe the Football Federation of Romania is not listening to the Court of Justice in the European Union, or maybe Mititelu is just trying to spin a fine weave of nonsense in order to get his point across. I don't know, right? I'm not a legal expert in the Romanian Football Federation, but Mititelu at least is making a lot of noise, speaking a lot publicly about his ability to turn this around. But every 15 days of non-payment, 2 more points are deducted. And as you can see, you probably noticed on this table, FCU Craiova, they haven't played a match yet, right? They haven't actually gotten onto the field and played a match. You can see the teams they were supposed to have played one less match as well, right? And so this is a situation where at the very least, this team is going to need to entirely reboot, even if Mititelu wins, which is a shame. Because I don't know who wins the debate between the top flight club and the club that was in the top flight 2 years ago, but is now down here, about who is the heir apparent to this historical club that did so well in Romania under the Iron Curtain. But it's always a shame whenever there is a historic entity that comes under threat like this. But you kind of have to pay your players and your coaches. You kind of have to pay those people. I hate to be like the Debbie Downer here, but you do kind of have to pay those people. Because if the laws are not in place in your federation and your leagues to guarantee that if players sign contracts, if coaches sign contracts, if teams are contractually obligated to send money to other teams like this thing with Dinamo Bucharest, then the entire fabric of a league itself is going to fall apart. It just is. It's going to fall apart. Now, I got to go back and play in this Rust Kingdoms tournament, which I'm streaming basically constantly for the next week. But, pour one out for FCU Craiova. It seems like a bit of a preventable disaster, but let's be honest, none of the other 83 teams at this level seem to be having such a catastrophic issue. And honestly, good on the Federation if FCU Craiova has broken the rules to this extent, because this is a serious penalty. Not whatever's happening to Manchester City or something, right? This is a real deal penalty.